Wow, I have not touched this game mode in years. To anyone who doesn't know, this is the For Honor story. Now, the coolest part of the story version is that this was actually never patched or updated since release. So we have the day one heroes that basically kind of feel like my grandparents having a domestic abuse fight. Now, what's the whole point of this video? Well, I'm going to be reviewing every single campaign mission to see if it really holds up to the test of time. To judge the missions, we're going to be using 3 categories. Those categories being level design, actual story, and how fun and entertaining the level is. We're going to be rating these 3 topics out of 10, and then combining them all to determine if the level is good or bad. Each video will have a brief summary of one of the 3 chapters. So this one is going to be about the knights. The first mission is called Warlords and Cowards. It starts off with a cinematic to set the scene. A large army is approaching, being the Blackstone Legion, attempting to invade the militia group run by my favorite warden, Herbus Daubeny. Daubeny checks on his troops and tells them that he can have a nice break, and lightly guides him off his post. Then, we are given control of the Warden, one of the main characters of the Knights campaign. Briefly after taking control of the Warden, we get slammed by a catapult. This level kind of serves to be the tutorial level, so a huge amount of this is just kind of teaching the player the mechanics of the game, except for parrying for some unknown reason. After nearly falling asleep during the blocking tutorial, we're finally allowed to beat the shit out of this captain. Okay, after 20 seconds of beating this piece of shit, our new objective is to hold the Dominion point. Oh, thank God. I actually do damage now. After a couple wave of captains getting the shit slapped out of them, I go the wrong way. And then I redirect myself to find a stalwart banner. Surely, if the game's gonna be one of its biggest feats, I'm gonna need to use it, right? This game then teaches you about clearing minions, which really shows that my randoms in my Dominion games have never played the campaign. And then I'm reminded, this patch has minion killing animations. After slaughtering a bunch of 5'11 men, we are shot at by a group of archers. Our new goal is to massacre them too, which is where our first taste of hero versus hero fighting begins, as I score off with another warden. Oh my goodness! Yeah, you can kind of hear me. I am still baffled on how bad the hitboxes were on day 1 warden. Like, seriously, my sword is connecting with the wall before it's hitting the guy in front of me. And then I heard a calling in my head. Put him in the vortex. And then everything just kind of clicked. I met up with Daubeny as he was beheading this poor captain who got left alone by his entire army, as Daubeny boasts about his first kill, and then proceeds to kick his minions in the back. This attention to detail is just amazing, and I bet none of you have ever actually seen or realized that he ever does this. I kill more Blackstone grunts, and finally get those archers. The warden then proceeds to dispatch the archers with extreme prejudice, and Holden kind of just has a pissy fit about just losing 5 archers, and decides, you know what, enough's enough, and knocks down the castle doors. He then proceeds to put the beat down on 3 poor minions, and then says his funny lines. Holden wants a 1v1 with Daubeny, but Daubeny just says, nuh-uh. So Holden and Daubeny settle on a Pokemon battle to see who's the better trainer. After a long time of just vortexing Adamar, he finally goes down, and Holden pulls a Team Rocket and takes me away from Daubeny. And just like that, the Warden joins the Blackstone Legion. Now this mission is just kind of boring, but it's kind of to be expected because For Honor was just a new game at the time with new mechanics for people to learn. So they kind of basically had to spell everything out for you so new players knew how to play. So the gameplay is going to get a 4 out of 10. The story is plain and simple. You can tell what's going on instantly, and it consistently shows throughout the level. The cutscenes are good, but not fantastic. So I'll give it a decent 7 out of 10. Now again, this is the tutorial, so it's not supposed to be fun. The constant stops in the game telling you how to play is a very sequence breaking, And it really slows the game down more than it already does with the forced tutorials. So the fun level is going to get a very harsh kind of 3 out of 10. Overall, I'll give Warlords and Cowards a staggering 5 out of 10. And Stay Out starts the Warden, now a full member of the Blackstone Legion, being tasked to aid a company of knights called the Iron Legion during a siege from the Vikings faction.
Blackstone! Where are reinforcements? I'm it. Is this a joke?
Now, I guess the Blackstone Legion thought it would be really funny to give a single man as reinforcements. Stone does not see this as funny, and then he wishes us good luck before opening the gates and letting us get to work. To anyone with a good eye, this is just a multiplayer map named Sentinel that was reused as the quote-unquote Iron Legion's castle. Our main objective is to push the Viking forces back to the middle of the courtyard, and yet again, I have way too much fun looking at the old minion killing animations. After mindlessly slaughtering these poor Vikings, the Warden decides to capture flanking points that consist of minions and captains. I tried to ledge this poor archer to no avail, and I'm forced to fight a berserker. Wait, you see that? Revenge building up in 1v1s? Wow, I'm talking about a blast from the past. I pick up Season 1 catapult that was laying on the ground and push to the last point. After taking the last point, my objective is to push the rest of the Vikings out, accompanied by Stone. I decide it's a good idea to catapult both berserkers and... Wow, I could die of old age before that hits the ground. Yeah, like seriously, how the fuck was anyone supposed to get a kill with this back then? Once all the Vikings have been cleared out, I'm begged to stop by a Valkyrie, who then challenges me to a duel, which, yeah, does not go well for her. We watch Stone break the Geneva Conventions, and for some reason, we have no problem with it, and we shake his hand. For the level design, this really lacks heart, seeing this is just a reused multiplayer map, and isn't unique in any way to the campaign. They do utilize the map's flow enough to make sure you aren't in the same place for too long, so I'll give it just a 3 out of 10. I find this story here enjoyable with some memorable cutscenes. Anyone who's played or seen this campaign has heard the meme that is Stone. We do get to see the Viking faction for the first time, showing the new enemy types. For a battle that the Warden says is quote-unquote already lost, it seems rather easy to have pushed them out of the castle, so the situation doesn't really feel dire. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I mean, for enjoyment, this also kind of falls short. If I would call this level anything, it would be a tutorial on how to play Dominion, because frankly, the only thing you really do in this level is push mid and capture points, that are also just the same points as Dominion. So it's going to get a 4 out of 10. Overall, I'm going to give Stay Out a measly 4 out of 10. The Blackstone Legion starts off with Warden self-monologuing, but this time, very interesting dilemma is going on through his head. Holding Cross tells us there's a battalion of Viking troops that took over a now deserted Iron Legion post. Holden asks if we need help, and we just say, nah. We meet up again with Stone, now rocking the Blackstone Legion armor, and team up with him to deal with the last of the Vikings. When we find the outpost the Iron Legion had abandoned, Stone sees this as an easy job, but Warren kind of starts to ask more questions on the legitimacy of the Blackstone Legion.
We've abandoned our people. What has happened to the Iron Legion? Wait here. I'll clear the bridge.
We do a bit of trolling on these Vikings and break into the fort. The new objective was to kill the Viking commander, which was a warlord. After making quick work on the warlord, I check on Stone in his fight. He's been fighting out. Yeah, they're ready to pass that. Stone and I then move on to try to find the Iron Legion, who were supposed to be here commanding this post, when a peacekeeper comes out of the bush trying to kill us. Sadly, peacekeeper, it was even worse in day one, and we kind of deal with it pretty easily. Without asking questions about why she attacked us, we just take her head clean off and move on like nothing happened. We did a bit more trolling to these wardens, and find the rest of the Iron Legion with the intention to talk to them. But if Warden just wanted to talk to the Iron Legion, why didn't he just talk to these ones? We meet another conqueror inside the broken church, and he leaves us asking more questions than answered.
Why have you abandoned your posts? A blackstone dog has strayed from his pack. Stand down! Your people need you. What's a warden doing fighting for Apollyon?
Stone doesn't like this Conqueror's drip, so he just wants to kill him. Very valid. I reminded Old Conqueror as an infinite chain zone attack before putting him down. After dealing with the Iron Legion, a swarm of them show up to aid their now dead friends. Stone takes an arrow to the shoulder, and now it's just me to fend off 20 men. Until...
Apollyon.
Gotcha, Blackstone.
Apollyon tells her guards to drop their guard in an attempt to see who will fight and who will just wait to die. She deals with them instantly, and it gives a fantastic but very mentally disturbing monologue to the rest of the troops.
Do you know what kind of creature waits for its own slaughter? Sheep. Sheep.
Warden sees Apollyon break the Geneva Conventions, and now he has a problem with it. Holland sees that we're about to draw our weapon against our warlord, and instead of just killing us, he says, "Nuh-uh." The last moments of the cutscene are these poor Iron Legion captains getting absolutely slaughtered. Like, seriously, look at this poor guy. Apollyon then welcomes the new recruits to the Blackstone Legion, and Warden finally gets his closure on if he's on the right side or not. So the level design is actually pretty good. It's actually a story-exclusive environment, so it's a nice change of scenery from the last mission. With multiple set pieces that don't get old, the level design is going to get a nice 8 out of 10. The overall story is also great. We start to have skepticism about the Blackstone Legion and their motives, thinking that we're on the right side. We question people that don't want to join us and have them give us hints on future events. It's never spelt out to you if Apollyon is a truly bad person, because in cutscenes she's just fighting people that were going to kill us, so in our eyes she saved our lives. But in the final moments of this cutscene, we kind of see a layer of Apollyon that is shown at the end. 9 out of 10. The fun in this mission is okay. It teaches about ledging and environmental kills. It has you fight a plethora of different enemies, being knights and vikings, and it never gets too boring. So I'm going to give the fun factor a 7 out of 10. Overall, I'm going to give Blackstone Legion a nice 8 out of 10. Valkenheim in winter. This mission throws us a curveball by having this place holding cross at the start, with the Warden by our side instead. The whole purpose of this mission is to lead the Blackstone Legion into Valkenheim. I'm reminded how old Lawbringer played, and lead my troops further into Valkenheim. I cross a bridge when the game tries to teach me how to parry, but I humbly disagree. Well, they say...
Out of my way. Savages.
Those catapults needed to be shut down.
I play some ice brawls with the raider, and move on to the first catapult. And then I get into a fight with a raider, who I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, and he hits me with a sick light parry, and then it rocks my shit. But then he makes the mistake of challenging me to more ice brawls. I move on to the next catapult and clear the group guarding it. The warlord used a bug that he found to make himself invincible in the corner, and I finally had my first death in the playthrough. What the fuck? Wait. What? Did I just ledge myself?
I am Holden Cross.
Oh my god. And I'm also reminded what difficulty I'm on. Yep. As I said, dying in any way will have you reset the entire mission on realistic. I run through the mission this time, wasting no time getting back to where I was, and get to the next part of the mission, which is sieging a Viking stronghold. I met up with Apollyon and have a quick chit chat with her.
Your warden commanded this assault? Go.
Watch these troops get absolutely dropped. Miss horribly on the bridge gun. I say hello to the warden, and then try to cross the bridge towards the stronghold. The Vikings pushed the bridge, and the only thing I could think of is how I accidentally ledged myself and would rather not do that again. This warlord practically throws by not guarding the bridge and running away. And we're now in the courtyard of the stronghold. I lower the bridge and allow the rest of the Blackstone Legion in. Holden Cross says we can't leave people to watch over prisoners, so we just kill them. As we're executing a bunch of the Vikings, this one raider refuses to kneel to us, and Apollyon takes a little bit of interest in him.
Hold.
Master, this beast killed at least 40 soldiers, including Davis.
Do you know how to tell a predator from prey? You can't, of course, unless you see them in war. "40. Well done.
Now watching this, Holden Cross now also has doubts alongside the warden of the leadership of Apollyon. Okay, this mission was absolutely fantastic. I actually really liked playing through it, and I even had to play it twice. It was just that good. The level design is very good, having you push into a forest, then an icy river, and then a massive stronghold. You never dwell on one place for too long where it feels just too boring, and the only complaint I had is that the stronghold segment is just too short. If you just try to open the door instantly, it's the shortest out of the 3 segments. This level design gets a 9 out of 10. Stories, again, it's pretty good. The inner monologues of Holden Cross you hear across the mission are giving you a semblance of his character. The honor and duty that he carries in his voice is pretty good. You kind of get the feeling through this entire mission that the Blackstone Legion really aren't a force to kind of fuck with. So the story gets a 7 out of 10. Now the fun factor of this mission is great. How they switch up the formulas of combat is so much. Is just fantastic. Whether it's where I'm fighting, how I'm fighting, or who I'm fighting, it always changes up and it's never too dull. It's never too much of one thing and it's just fantastic. The fun factor gets an 8 out of 10. Overall, I'm gonna give Valkenheim in the winter, Valkenheim in the winter, a massive 8 out of 10. Sabotage has you playing as Mercy, the Blackstone Legion's peacekeeper. Peacekeeper's job is to infiltrate the Viking compound and, sabotage it. This mission really only consists of one straight path towards the compound and adds nothing new to the formula of the game. This start of the mission can be summed up as walk towards the stronghold, meet Viking patrol, kill Viking patrol, and repeat ad nauseum. We make it to the stronghold, and our first actual objective is to sabotage the gate mechanics, which is rather done pretty easily, as the raider patiently waits for me to break his controls. After sabotaging all 3 of the gate mechanics, Peacekeeper makes a flashy getaway, and the entire compound just folds in on itself. As you can see, that was really short. The level design is bland and just kind of boring. The start and the inside of the compound is nothing special. You get one room in the compound, so the level design is going to get a 2 out of 10. They could have really improved this by having multiple ways in the compound and actually making it a stealth mission. Story-wise, I don't even think this correlates to the rest of the story. Peacekeeper just kind of walks into the compound, destroys everything, and goes back to her party and tells them that she's done. So, 1 out of 10. This mission really wasn't fun. It was an introduction to Peacekeeper, which is new and all, but for some reason the bleed mechanics just didn't work. Just making it just hit them with heavy attacks level. So the fun factor is getting a 3 out of 10. Sabotage has to be the worst and most forgettable level in the entire campaign, so I'm giving it a fat 2 out of 10. Oh, Wolf Among Sheep. Now this level is fantastic. Seriously, a 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for the beginning of this level. The mission starts with the warden concerned and confused again on why he's doing what he's doing. So he finally decides to ask, why are we pillaging what looks like a peaceful clan? Apollyon then reassures the warden that this is just all a front and the Vikings actually kill each other when night falls. This really doesn't help the warden at all in his dilemma, but nonetheless he joins the assault with this quote.
The ram moving!
Being a skeptic was a death sentence. But doubt is a part of integrity.
This quote is basically him saying, if I'm skeptical, I'm going to be killed, and I just shouldn't be questioning anymore. Now, here comes the Ubisoft classic escort mission. And to give you guys some insight, every campaign mission normally takes around 10 to 20 minutes to complete, but not this one. This took a whopping 40 minutes of recording. And the only reason is that the ram moves slower than my grandmother. Your objective is to keep the Vikings away from the ram, because if they get into smelling distance of it, the ram is forced to stop and will be bombarded by catapults. This took me 3 attempts, because truthfully, this is just not possible without second wind. The executions they give you on the warden heal like 5% of your max health, and the Vikings do like 5% of your max health per hit. Anyways, after 10 long minutes of pushing this damn ram, we're tasked with taking the wall down. But somehow a single ballista bolt just jams the entire ram's mechanics, so we're forced to go up there and remove it by hand. And this is where we meet the first boss of the game, Gudmundur. He jumps on top of the ram to initiate a duel with us and starts beating my ass senselessly. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. After a minute of fighting, the ram finally breaks through the wall and sends us flying, cutting our duel short. Apollyon comes to check on us and give us the Captain Price treatment.
On your feet, soldier! We are leaving!
We push through the fortress, and Warren says to himself that this isn't the first time he's taken a fortress, but it just bothers him. After some more pushing through, we meet back up with Gudmundur, and watch as a pack of wolves absolutely decimate our troops. With no other option, I'm forced to fight a pack of wolves and Gudmundur at the same time. Now the wolves only really take 1 hit to kill. Something about their hitbox is just a little off. After a bit more fighting, we send Gudmundur crashing through a door as his troops tell him that he needs to fall back. You of course chase him and initiate one of the best cutscenes in the game. Watching his food haul be burnt to the ground not only puts Gudmundur into a saddened state, but also makes the warden ponder and question what the point of this was. He knows that he joined the wrong side. Warden finds Gudmundur's weapon and slides it to him, wanting to finish the duel. Why does a Warlord have that? Why is he so boring? We eventually take Gunmother down and try to reassure him that in his final moments, he gave us a good fight.
You fought well.
But Gunmother just doesn't really care and tells us to go to hell for what we've done. And this is what mentally breaks the Warden, like the last straw keeping him bound to the Blackstone Legion. As Mercy catches up to the Warden, he tells her that he swore an oath for peace and that this isn't what this oath is meant for.
Mercy, why are we here? I think you know.
Famine. This place houses their seed grain. There will be no new harvest. By winter, they will be killing each other over what little food is left.
I took an oath to fight for peace. So did you. All of you.
We're now then cut to Apollyon, where she's rationing the rest of the food that the Vikings had left. Their plans were to burn it all, but Apollyon stops the burning and tells Holden Cross that we're not going to burn all of it, and we're going to give this little amount of food to the Vikings and have them fight for it to break their ranks.
Die.
They would unite. But leave them scraps. Just enough for 2, maybe 3 clans. They will fight each other over what remains. The wolves among them will rise. We're not here to kill them. We are here to teach them who they are. To set them free. Time to go home.
The level design is nice, but the start of this mission is just what makes it suffer. It would have been a fantastic level, and the inside of the fortress is nice and looks great, and the fighting arenas are also good. Overall, the level design is going to get a 7 out of 10. Now, the story here is getting a 10 out of 10. It starts off with the same premise as always, the Warden being confused on why they're doing what they're doing. Being reassured by Apollyon that what he's doing is fine, and he realizes if he keeps asking questions about it, he says he may cut next. But the entire time he feels bad for what he's doing and can't put his finger on why. Only when he sees the warlord in chief of the village so mentally defeated that he's abandoned his own weapon to look at the village he just raised burned down, that he realizes he's not on the right side. The entire story, we are shown that Apollyon is a person who rewards bravery and defiance, and to a certain point is kind of respectable. But when it comes to this mission, her true colors really start to show. She's not doing this because it will benefit her in the war efforts. She's doing this just to cause chaos inside the factions. In the first ever trailers of For Honor, Apollyon delivers this line.
Am Apollyon. I bring war.
This doesn't mean she wants war between the 3 factions. She wants war everywhere. But now we get to the fun factor. Or should I say lack of fun factor. Okay, yes, the 3 duels with Gudmundur are really cool. And the fighting arenas are also really cool. It always shakes it up and always keeps it interesting. But the start of this mission just kills it. Forced to do a long escort mission that has no way to speed it up and only ways to slow it down just is really boring and horribly designed. So this is getting a 3 out of 10. If I didn't reassure myself that I would finish it on the 4th attempt, I would have gotten off and I wouldn't have played it till tomorrow. This is just boring. Overall, Wolf Among Sheep get a 7 out of 10.